Hello YouTube. So in this video I'll be telling you why failure training could be keeping you small. So in the past few months I've been experimenting with it, and I've been just like only using it for getting over plateaus basically. And let's say for example I got like 5 reps on my curls and I could not progress after that. So I would, instead of attempting a 6th rep for like 2 weeks straight, I would only get 5 reps and I would just like stick with it and basically not attempt a single rep after that. That means I have 1 rep or just like half a rep in reserve, and that like decreases the amount of fatigue you get from that set by quite a lot, which means there's quite a there's less fatigue from that session, which means you have a better chance of recovering after that. And magically, you know, the session after that, I could do 6 reps, or I could just increase the weight and get 5 reps again. So yeah, I mean, it's a skill that um, you'll get better at, which means you'll get better at gauging how many reps you have in reserve, and you'll start knowing when to simply like not fight for that last rep. I mean, it might sound like I'm just like telling you like not to train hard, but when you try it yourself, you'll you'll see how you'll see what I'm talking about. So there are two main reasons why you shouldn't train to failure all the time, at least. So basically, from a progress standpoint, as I said before, this was something that I've been only doing to get over plateaus, basically. And once I started doing it for everything, that's when like my progress really skyrocketed. I've added, I'd say, a plate to my hack squat. I've added 10 kilos to my pull up, um probably like 15 kilos to my dip in the span of like a month, which is pretty good progress for me as well, because I have like really long limbs, right? I have the wingspan of a fucking eagle, but still, I could make progress pretty fast. So yeah, we know that the last rep is the most fatiguing because there's the most amount of motor unit recruitment, and that means um more fatigue basically. Because there's the most amount of it's the slowest and it's the hardest rep. So there's the most amount of fatigue present in that rep. So yeah, going to failure multiple times in the same workout is gonna accumulate a big amount of fatigue, and you probably feel this as well. You relate to me because I think quite a big percentage of people is like are like sort of like brainwashed to think that if you're not trained to failure and adding like a bunch of fucking forced reps after that, you're not that set wasn't like very effective. But an effective set is one where you get your stimulating reps, which means um it's close to failure and it's decently heavy so that you're not getting that many reps, which means not much fatigue going on. That personally I would call an effective set. But you see, you're not like stepping into the gym doing one exercise or like one set, which means you have the fatigue exists basically, and going to failure repeatedly is gonna halt your progress on the following sets. I've noticed when leaving a rep in the tank that I could easily like add weight and still maintain the same amount of reps and maintain that RAR as well. So let's say for example I did 80 pounds on my dips and I got 5 reps and I had one at the tank. The next session I did 85 pounds and I also got 5 reps and I still had 1 rep in reserve. And let's say for some odd reason I didn't have 1 rep in reserve because fatigue, whatever, things in life happen. You could quite a lot of reasons why you could not have progressed that much. I would, in the next session, I would still attempt 5 reps. I wouldn't try to get a 6th one because the last session was 0 RAR. It wouldn't make much sense for me to try to progress again. I would just like fucking, but like basically run into a brick wall. And yeah, every time I've tried it, it worked. Um, and that's about it. From like a hormonal standpoint, going to failure is not really. I'm not saying like not train hard. Obviously, like a 5 rep set um with one in reserve is like fucking hard. It's not easy. It's just smarter and more applicable because you're not going to the gym for 1 or 2 weeks. I'm just actually like I'm repeating myself here, right? So yeah, the hormonal part and training to failure very often because it's very fatiguing. Uh, it's very taxing on the nervous system and quite a lot of other processes. Increases production of cortisol, and cortisol is basically just the stress hormone. Now, it is produced in any sort of activity, but especially and pretty highly in failure training, and especially in very like taxing exercise. For let's say, for example, a squat or a deadlift or whatever, a compound free weight exercise, right? Which basically just um, blunts your testosterone production and your DHT production, which is like dihydrotestosterone, and in turn making your recovery slower in general. And what else? Just just makes your quality of life after the gym generally just like worse. I've personally noticed this quite a lot back when I was like progressing on my powerlifting movements. And after I did, let's say, for example, 4 sets of squats, and the last set would be like at 0 IRR, or like, it would still be like, even if I didn't go to failure or very close to failure, I would still feel the effects of it throughout the day. I would feel, very unmotivated to go like study or do anything. So ever since I switched to 1 IRR training and like moving trying to focus on the quality of my sets, I've noticed that, yeah, my days went a lot better after the gym and I progressed a lot better, which is, two birds on one stone. Yeah, I guess that's it. And feeling tired, like after gym, is like, you should be feeling better after your training, not necessarily worse. And when you feel worse, that is an expression of low DHT. So, yeah, train smart and don't do stuff that is very taxing, or else you'll need a lot more rest days, or you'll need lower frequency, or a lot of things. You'll start needing deloads and stuff, which is not very productive. Like time off the gym is not good time at all. So yeah, I guess that's it. Subscribe and like the video, comment something nice.